The beautiful ancient Polish city of Kraków boasts an enormous medieval town square, one of the largest in all of Europe. Dominating the square is the imposing two-towered St. Mary's Basilica. This basilica is home to many spectacular works of art to delight the eye, but also one particularly intriguing tradition to delight the ear. Every hour on the hour, regardless of the time or season, a member of the fire brigade ascends the northern tower of the basilica and appears at one of its windows high above the square. He puts a bugle to his lips and plays a haunting ancient melody known as the Hejnał. Then he moves to the next window and plays it again, until the Hejnał has sounded to the north, the south, the east, and the west, calling to the four corners of the globe. At noon it is even broadcast to all of Poland and beyond. People wait in great anticipation to hear this famous bugle call, which has been sounded from St. Mary's for 700 years. The most interesting element of the tradition is the melody itself. It is truly beautiful and draws one into it with an irresistible allure. But then, startlingly, in the middle of a phrase, in the middle of a note, it suddenly stops. The note is cut short. The melody remains glaringly incomplete, as though sliced off mid-sentence, suddenly silenced by some sinister hand and not allowed to play to the end. The effect is both powerful and eerie. The legend behind it is also powerful and eerie. Back in 1241, Poland was being invaded, just as it has been invaded so often during history. This time it was the fearsome Mongol armies of the east that were pouring into the country. The lone guard on duty noticed a dark blur in the distance and recognized it as the enemy troops galloping fast on horseback towards Kraków, armed with their famously fierce arrows. Quickly he picked up his bugle and began to sound the alarm, playing the Hejnał with all his might to awaken the town. Upon hearing this warning, the city leapt into action. The rest of the guards were aroused from their sleep, and the city gates were closed just in time to prevent the planned ambush of the city. Kraków had been saved by the vigilance of this one brave bugler. But that bugle call was never finished, for as the trumpeter was sounding the final note of the alert, a single Mongol arrow pierced his throat, cutting short his melody and his life. He was found still clasping the bugle, ready to sound a last note that was never heard. So it is that from that time on, this peculiar melody has sounded over the roofs of the city, a call to vigilance and a reminder of what the alertness of one faithful, vigilant soul can accomplish. So it is that for over 700 years, the Hejnał has not been played to completion, but has abruptly stopped in the middle of a note, a haunting remembrance of a life and a message cut short. Be vigilant at all times, we are told. Our very life, focused on something beyond the walls of this earthly city, is a wake-up call to all those who lie sleeping and immersed in the anxieties and pleasures of purely earthly existence, oblivious to anything higher. Humanity must be awakened. A life lived in conscious union with the divine produces a powerful melody, summoning all of creation to wake up to what we were meant to be. by ascending the tower to see beyond, by a life of love lived on a level above, we silently sound the call that something else is coming, and indeed is already here. The trumpet is in our hands. Yet our melody never plays to the end. Does anything really? Does any human thing ever come to completion in this world? Our dreams, our works, our very lives seem always to be cut short, vanishing in mid-sentence, just as we think we are finally about to accomplish something, just before we think we have reached our elusive goal. Right in the middle of the last note, the music stops. Our bugle and our song are forever silenced, and our voice is heard no more. For that last note, left here half unsung, is always destined to ring out elsewhere, beyond the walls of our human city, where it echoes on for all eternity. And just perhaps it is that final note of ours, extinguished as it is being born, that calls most loudly to a sleeping humanity as the most powerful witness, the most eloquent trumpet of all.